My name is Ann. I'm a Geotechnical Engineer with the Power and Transportation Group, based out of the office here in Vancouver. So the typical work that I do is actually twofold these days. It's a combination of technical work and project management. So on the technical side, my work really consists of design of soil and rock slopes for tunnels, bridges, and other infrastructures, like hydropower facilities. Actually, for the last 10 years, my biggest sort of technical role is the design of drainage tunnels and diversion tunnel for a large hydropower development here in northern BC. On the project management side and design management side, so in the last maybe 4 years, I took on the role as the deputy design manager for the civil works contract of the project. And for that, my main role really is to help plan and coordinate the team, to be able to deliver everything that's required to be able to kind of take the project into construction and then through construction. And then really acting as a liaison between our design team, the various disciplines that we have on the team, our client, our contractor, to be able to really deliver the project on time and on budget. So the part of my job that I find the most rewarding really is being an active part of leading a team to basically get a project from conception to design through to construction, and then really seeing, the project being built, whether it's large or small. And I also find it immensely fulfilling to be able to deliver quality work and also have clients who are really happy with our work, all the while being able to be involved in projects that shape the current and the future landscape of sustainability within our province and our community. My typical day actually starts and ends with my 2-year-old daughter. So in the morning, I wake her up, I change her, I get her breakfast and lunch ready, we eat breakfast together, then I get her ready for daycare, and then that's when my day actually starts as a professional. So in terms of my work right now, for my role as the deputy design manager for this large hydropower project, I have a lot of Teams meetings with the team. This component of the project is currently wrapping up. So a lot of the work right now is to prepare record drawings, construction reports, and also have regular instrumentation meetings to review the instrumentation data across site. I also manage several projects for the P&T group here in Vancouver and work on several proposals. In addition to the project work that I do, I'm also involved in the P&T engagement committee, and also I'm involved in several operational initiatives for P&T. I typically end my day at 5, so I can get home and play with my daughter and have dinner with her, bathe her, do bedtime, and then put her down. And then after that, if I have a bit more work, then I'll just try and finish up a bit more work. If not, typically I would read a book or meditate, and I go to bed. If you were to ask the grade 11 version of me whether I would be an engineer at that point in time, I would have said no way, because I was a lot more interested in the humanities courses when I was in high school, like history, literature, geography, and I really wanted to go into sociology or psychology. And even though, I wasn't bad in my math or science courses, it just wasn't sort of my main interest at the time. And it took a really inspiring grade 12 teacher and a lot of convincing on my parents to be able to kind of convince me that engineering is a possibility for me. So, at the time of kind of choosing majors for university, I took the plunge and chose engineering at UBC to start my undergrad. So for me, how I got started as a geotechnical engineer was really, in first year engineering, you're kind of exposed to all the different subdisciplines of engineering. And going through that, I was definitely a lot more interested in civil and geological courses, and I really wasn't that great at mechanical or electrical engineering. So it was really coming down to either civil or geological engineering. And I felt that geological engineering sort of encompassed different aspects of civil, mining, and environmental. And it really had the possibility of allowing me to work both in the office and in the field. I started at KCB really largely thanks to Alex C., who was the VP of Technical at the time. And he was also an adjunct professor at UBC. He taught several classes in deep foundations and also case studies for geotechnical engineering. And I absolutely loved his lectures, and I gathered up enough courage to talk to him after one of the lectures. And I said, I really loved your lectures, and I looked up KCB, and I really wanted to start my EIT career there. So he forwarded my CV to the manager of geostructures at the time, and also the manager of MEG, Mining Environmental Group. And I ended up choosing the geostructures group with PNT. For me, to kind of end up in the role that I have today really is an evolution of me initially kind of stepping out of my comfort zone and taking on opportunities that were offered to me, pretty much all the opportunities. And then later on being able to see opportunities that are not offered, but I feel like I would be able to help a team succeed. So at the start, during my first 4 years as an EIT, I pretty much said yes to anything that came up. And then with that, I got exposed to really the multidisciplinary service that we offer within PNT. So to bridges, to roads, to hydropower projects, really a whole variety of selection of projects. And then I went back to UBC to do my MEng in 2015. And then after I came back, an opportunity became available for this big hydropower project in northern BC. And I was asked whether I wanted to take on the role of the main geotechnical designer for the underground works for this project. And of course, I said yes without blinking, really. Starting from there, I started off mainly as a technical role, preparing the design for the tunnels and all the surface excavations, and then also, being on site quite a bit during the construction of the tunnels. And then as other people sort of moved onto other aspects of the project, I took on the role of the package manager for the underground works. And for that was sort of my first exposure of managing a multidisciplinary team. Throughout the project, I became a really good friend of the design manager for the civil works contract. And also the project manager took me on as a mentee. So I basically saw an opportunity to help the design manager for the main civil works with, everything that was going on to be able to deliver this large project. And I offered to him, I can basically help you. And so a role of the deputy design manager was kind of created for me for that. KCB provided me with really good support when I went back to do my MEng in 2015. I took a year off to be able to do that. And then also after I came back from my mat leave, everyone's been really supportive in terms of, sort of the multiple roles that we have to be professionally and also personally. So the company's been really great. I think what really made me want to stay with the company and stay here for this long, I've been with the company for 17 years now, is a combination of the project work that they do and the variety of work that they do. And the exposure that I've been, lucky enough to have with the companies, throughout my career. And I would say a huge part of it has been my manager and my mentor, Gary Stevenson, who, kind of saw me as somebody who just kind of came in, didn't know anything, had the trust in me to be able to give me these opportunities and really helped support me along the way. And another big lesson that he taught me is don't be afraid to kind of have fun, just watching him kind of play his guitar and pursue his hobbies outside of work. And work really isn't everything. Work is important, but it isn't everything. Work-life balance is a bit different now that I'm a mom. So ideally, I would love to be able to function at a very high level professionally and still be able to really connect and maintain that connection and have the time to really spend with my daughter, and then still be able to lead a really healthy lifestyle for myself, to be able to meditate and eat well and work out and maybe enjoy a glass of wine here and there. But in reality, like that doesn't always happen just because time is limited. So for me, if I can kind of tick some of those boxes on a day-to-day basis and not let the pendulum kind of swing too far on to any one side for too long, then I feel like that's a good balance for me. So outside of work, personally, I am a foodie. I love to cook and bake, and I love to eat. I love food photography. And I love wine so much that I ended up pursuing a professional certification in wine. So that's kind of, for me, what I personally like to do for fun. But nowadays, fun is also spending as much time as I can with my daughter, teaching her new things, sharing with her new experiences, and really just watching her grow as a little human being. The advice that I would have for someone who's sort of in their senior years in high school and they're unsure what career path they want to pursue is to, I think first of all, see what their interests lie, because if you're not interested in something, no matter how much you kind of force it, you're not going to be very good at it. And we spend so much time working that it would be really dissatisfying if you're at a job that you don't enjoy. So I think start with the interest and then really look at, what kind of work opportunities are offered in those fields. Your choice at the start of, your post-secondary schooling is really not the end of, your choices. So if you do end up going 2 or 3 years in and this is not something for you, then you can still pivot and change, right?